Hello, we are in Module 3 of the CHS Training for Quality and Accountability focal points. We're looking at what you need to know on each commitment of the core humanitarian standard in order to support your organisation's implementation of these commitments. In this presentation, we're going to look at Commitment 7. Commitment 7 of the core humanitarian standard states that communities and people affected by crisis can expect delivery of improved assistance as organisations learn from experience and reflection. The quality criterion is that humanitarian actors continuously learn and improve. This commitment is important because learning from success and failure and then modifying and adapting current as well as future work is a cornerstone of both quality and accountability. A culture of learning and continual improvement is a sign of a professional organisation and is fundamental to being both effective and efficient. There are 3 key actions for Commitment 7. Let's take a look at them. Key Action 7.1 looks at whether lessons learned and prior experience are considered when designing programs, including lessons learned from other actors and relevant technical standards. Key Action 7.2 suggests that organisations learn, innovate, and implement changes on the basis of monitoring and evaluation and feedback and complaints. Those are 2 distinct sources of information. It also looks at the management processes which ensure that lessons and corrective actions lead to change in practice. Key Action 7.3 looks at how the organisation shares learning and innovation both internally and with communities and people affected by crisis, as well as with other stakeholders. Again, when reading the indicators, we need to remember to break them down. For Key Action 7.3, we saw that there are 3 different audience levels for sharing learning. The types of actions that demonstrate whether your staff are meeting the key action indicators of Commitment 7 include 1. Program design templates at your organisation and your partners level, which includes sections on lessons learnt and reflections. 2. Emergency response minutes. 3. M&E reports with management responses and/or action plans. 4. Research and learning reports that may have been shared with your communities of practice and show records of innovative practice. 5. Minutes of key programmatic and management meetings. And 6. Completed personal development plans which evidence change and improvements made over a period of time. Take a moment now to reflect. Do your teams carry out these processes in order to ensure learning from experience and reflection? If not, there might be examples on this slide that become part of your CHS implementation or improvement plan. Take a moment now to write them down. The organisational responsibilities for Commitment 7 are 7.4. Evaluation and learning policies are in place and means are available to learn from experiences and improve practices. When we read this, we can see that there are 2 elements to Organisational Responsibility 7.4. One is that evaluation and learning policies are in place, and 2 is that the means are available to learn from experience and improve practice. In the same way, Organisational Responsibility 7.5 expects that mechanisms exist to record knowledge and experience, and that knowledge and experience are accessible throughout the organisation. Organisational Responsibility 7.6. The organisation contributes to learning and innovation in humanitarian response amongst peers and within the sector. There are no PSEAH requirements for Commitment 7. Some examples of ways to fulfill these organisational responsibilities are through policy or other formal guiding documents on learning, procedures or practical guidelines for implementing the monitoring, evaluation, and learning policies, workshop reports, meeting minutes, and learning presentations and recommendations. Plans on how partners will meet these commitments are also important, such as partner MOUs and agreements, partner assessments, capacity plans, proposals, plans and reports, budgets, partner arrangements and activities. Other elements include IT platforms and shared systems, learning tools, budgets on resourcing, staff induction on systems, learning and evaluation report, cluster or other interagency learning mechanisms, and publications and presentations. Did you write any of these down? They might become part of your CHS improvement plan. As with the other commitments we've looked at, the success in fulfilling the requirements of Commitment 7 is significantly influenced by the culture of your organisation. Therefore, the extent to which monitoring, evaluation, feedback, and complaints lead to changes or innovation in program design and implementation is entirely dependent on the level of importance placed on learning by senior management. Their buy-in determines the level of human and financial resources dedicated to learning and improvement. While donors ensure that monitoring is done as a standard requirement, it is leadership that sets the expectation that an organization will seek to understand the impact of their intervention and act upon feedback in a timely manner, seeking to change and continuously adapt. There must be clear, organization-wide expectations on the application of policy, guidelines, and templates. This includes drawing on lessons learned from prior work when working on program design. Under Commitment 7, communities are asked one question: whether they think the support they have received has improved over time. This has been an overview of Commitment 7 of the Core Humanitarian Standard. We've been looking at what is required for implementation. We've looked at the key actions, organisational responsibilities, as well as the question you can ask communities to verify their perception on how your organisation implements this commitment. Take a moment now to reflect on what you've learned, and then move on to the next presentation.